We have made it. A-League football is finally back, so let's jump into some predictions for the opening weekend. These videos will be dropping every single Thursday here on the Coast Watch Football YouTube channel, where I'll be here giving my preview and predictions for every game each weekend. The opening fixture for this season comes in Melbourne, with the reigning champions Melbourne City hosting Brisbane Roar. An interesting stat heading into this game is that City have won their last 6 games at home to Brisbane. But having said that, the last time these sides faced at the back end of last year, Brisbane actually picked up a 3-0 win at home. I think in this matchup, we can expect City to really dominate possession, and with Brisbane Roar, they'll be looking to attack on the counter-attack with their wingers and striker up top. I think a major concern in this game, especially for Brisbane Roar, comes in midfield. Brisbane playing with those 2 central midfielders, whether it is Matty Steinman, Jay O'Shea, or Ramadak Bari, will certainly have their hands full against City's 3 midfielders, Aidan O'Neill, Florin Berengay, and Connor Metcalfe. But the key battle for me comes in defence for Brisbane, as Tommy Aldred is going to have a big task on his hands trying to contain Jamie McLaren. Aldred, now a real leader in this Brisbane Roar side, has a lot of weight in his shoulders, especially after his English counterpart Macaulay Gillespie left the side. While I do see Brisbane nabbing a goal on the counter-attack, whether that's from young gun Cyrus Demi, I think City will be too strong in the end. I'm going for a 3-1 win for the reigning champions. On Saturday night prime time, of course, we have the simultaneous kickoffs, 2 A-League games kicking off at the same time. Sydney Derby at CommBank Stadium. It's going to be a huge clash. Some fascinating stats heading into this game is that Sydney FC have only won 1 derby in their last 7. But on the flip side, the Sky Blues haven't lost an opening round fixture since 2012, and that was away to Wellington Phoenix. Tactically, we know what to expect with this Sydney FC side, but it's going to be really interesting when it comes to the Western Sydney Wanderers. It looks like Coach Carl Robinson might be shifting to a 4 at the back, and some of those key players up top. Keep an eye for new signings, Dimitri Petratos and Tom Mohamed. But the key battle for me in this game comes in defensive midfield for both sides. When you look at Western Sydney Wanderers, they've got Ugarkovic and now Terry Antonis, former Sydney FC player, and Luke Bratton for Sydney FC, of course, one of the best defensive midfielders in the league, and whether he's lining up alongside Caceres, Retre, or even Neuenhoff. Whichever defensive midfield pairing can win that battle in the middle of the park will go a long way to dictating the result of the game in the end. For me, this one is really, really hard to call. I think it could easily go either way, but I think at home, I think Wanderers might just pip it. I'm hoping it's going to be an entertaining game. I'm going to say 3-2 Wanderers. Kicking off at the same time down south in Victoria, it's Western United hosting Melbourne Victory. John Aloisi versus Tony Popovic, 2 A-League coaches returning. And this one for me is going to be really, really interesting to watch. I think both sides are going to be playing different systems to the one they were playing last year. Both sides hoping for better seasons, of course, from last year. When it comes to the home side, Western United, keep an eye out for some of those European imports. Leo Lacroix in defense looks like a really solid defender. And of course, Prijovic up top has the potential to be a really successful striker at A-League level. But for Melbourne Victory, of course, they've strengthened so well in defense. Roderick Memoranda, Matt Sporanovic, Jason Garrier, Jason Davidson. It really is a new look Melbourne Victory side, and they will definitely be way more competitive this season. The key battle in this game for me, though, comes in Alessandro Diamanti facing up alongside Josh Bolante. We know how good Josh Bolante can be. He's played at a number of A-League clubs, and he has returned to Australia, but he's going to have his hands full with one of the best creative midfielders in the league, of course, in Alessandro Diamanti. If Victory want to keep a clean sheet in this game, it's going to come in midfield first. Josh Bolante needs to be shutting down Diamanti. I can certainly see this one being a very cagey affair. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw in the end. Later on Saturday night, it could certainly be a debut for Daniel Sturridge as Perth Glory host Adelaide United. And it's sounding like the Englishman will be making an appearance. They're doing everything they can to make sure that he features in this game. And I mean, considering that they're selling so many tickets for this game, they do not want to disappoint those home fans. There certainly has been some entertaining games between these sides in recent years, but just in the past season, Perth Glory won all 3 games between these 2 teams. And a key storyline in this game comes in midfield for both sides. 2 former players returning to these clubs, Isaias at Adelaide United, Brandon O'Neill captaining Perth Glory. They're 2 players that really like to dictate the pace of the game and will certainly be getting a lot of the ball. For me, the result of this game hinges on which of those 2 defensive midfielders can have the stronger game. But I think in front of a huge home crowd at HBF Park, Daniel Sturridge making an appearance off the bench, I think Glory will get a 2-1 win in this game. Sunday afternoon, I'm absolutely itching with excitement to see my Central Coast Mariners face off the Newcastle Jets in the F3 Derby. And when it comes to football derbies in Australia, nothing comes closer than this one. Mariners have won 17 games, Jets have won 18. Mariners 63 goals, Jets 64 goals. It is as close as it gets, and we saw that similar narrative carried throughout last season. The results were pretty mixed. 2 wins for the Mariners, but a win for the Jets late on last season. For Central Coast Mariners, it appears that new head coach Nick Montgomery is going for the similar system that Alan Sturridge was playing last season, that 4-4-2 setup. Meanwhile, for Newcastle Jets, it certainly is a new look side with a new formation. And there's a host of new exciting foreign plays to keep an eye on for both sides when it comes to Mateus Moresh, Sai Goddard, Benny Kololo, and for the Jets, Becca Mikaldazzi, Olivia Bamal, Daniel Pena. But for me, the key battle in this game is with the familiar names that we know in the A-League. Matt Yerm and Jordan Elsey forming a new partnership in defense for the Jets, facing Lorena and Maddie Simon up top for the Central Coast Mariners. So many goals for the Mariners last season came through combinations involving Matt Simon and Marco Lorena, but Matt Yerman and Jordan Elsey are 2 top quality A-League level defenders. And in these round prediction videos, I am trying my best to remain as unbiased as possible, but for me, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. And in the final game of round 1, MacArthur FC host Wellington Phoenix. The big storyline heading into this game is Ulysses De Villa facing off against his former side. When you look at the matchups from these sides from last season, it was really balanced. 1 win for each side and 1 draw. For MacArthur this season, a priority that they have spoken about is improving their home form, and they will need to do that. At the back end of last year, they only won 1 game at home in their last 6. And there's some contrasting form for the away side. Phoenix were undefeated in their last 11 A-League games at the back end of last year. But the key battle for me has to be playmaker Ulysses De Villa facing up against his old side. But if anyone's going to contain him, it's going to be the players that know him best in Wellington Phoenix. And I think the quality that MacArthur possess across the park, Craig Noon grabbing 2 assists in the FFA Cup last week, I think the home side will be too strong in this game. I can see MacArthur getting a 2-0 win. Very curious to see your predictions for this opening round weekend in the A-League, so drop them down in the comments. And make sure you tune back in on Monday, where I'll be doing my round recap video breaking down all of the action from the past round. If you want to stay up to date with all of the A-League content dropping here on Coast Watch Football, make sure you hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.